a friend, Frank Licata, who is actually a friend of the president, a friend of a lot of Republicans, and a friend of a lot of different candidates. And I know him. He would like to speak and give his opinion on this NFL and the flag thing. And again, he's not a huge sports fan. I talked to him off the air, but he does have an opinion as an American, as a guy who absolutely works his tail off if he believes in you as a candidate. Frank, welcome to The Answer.
Hey, Joe, it's good to talk to you. Nice to finally get a hold of you.
Yeah.
I used to enjoy listening to you on FM Talk years ago, and I used to enjoy your YouTube videos and so forth. I'm glad to hear you on The Answer now, and I follow you on a daily basis.
Thank you so much. So, Frank, we were chatting offline. You know, you're not a huge sports fan. You're more of a political type. That's your sport, is politics. But tell me what you feel.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Well, personally, I believe sports is just is a distraction. For me, my sport is politics. I jumped on board the Trump campaign in the spring of 2015 when everybody thought he was a joke, and I was running around New Hampshire with him essentially. And then, that was, we won against all odds, and now I recently introduced you to Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai for U.S. Senate.
Yep.
Again, I've always, the people that have resonated with me have always been the outsider fighting the establishment. So if Dr. Shiva wins, this will be a trifecta for me. It'll be my third, actually, time involved in politics. I only got involved in politics like 3 years ago. So,
because you were fed up? Is that what it was, Frank?
Yeah, I don't like the establishment, and I believe that both parties are one and the same. It doesn't matter. You can choose the blue Kool-Aid or the red Kool-Aid. It doesn't matter. It's still Kool-Aid.
I love it.
Like Trump was essentially his own party. I believe Dr. Shiva is essentially his own guy. That's why he dumped the GOP. As far as sports goes, because I know you're talking about the NFL and so forth, they're going to do whatever's profitable for them.
Right.
So if they're losing revenue, they're going to say, well, maybe we should stand for the flag. I mean, hello, you should stand for the flag and stand at attention anyway, regardless. And you should fire anyone that, wants to take a knee. Stay in the locker room, yeah, I guess. But, really, I think Trump was right. You don't belong in this country. If you can't salute the flag and stand at attention for our national anthem, then you really don't belong here. I mean, there are a bunch of spoiled, rotten brats. They're rich.
All right.
Rich kids.
Frank, let me ask you this question now. I'm going to play devil's advocate, okay? Because again, we essentially agree, but I'm going to play the advocate of the guy over, at Harvard Yard, and he's an intellectual, and he says, listen, if you believe in America and you serve this country, you served it for both the guy who wants to stand for the flag and who doesn't want to stand for the flag, and why shouldn't you allow him to be who he wants to be? Tell me what you'd say to him.
Well, I would say that, your employer can have rules of conduct. For example, you work for the broadcasting company you work for says you shall, behave within these bounds. You can't go dropping F-bombs on the radio or whatever. So therefore, if you're going to work for whatever team and you're on the clock, they're paying you. So just like we can, our employer can say, you can't smoke at work or you can't do this at work. Mm-hmm. Likewise, if you're on the salary and they have huge salaries, you shall stand at attention for the flag. That's part of your job.
Right.
That's part of your job. And if you don't like it, then don't take the job. Just go somewhere else.
Frank, and that's a great point because again, they are entertainers. I mean, for 2 hours on a Sunday, 3 hours on a Sunday on network TV. They are performing a game that we're all watching for pleasure. Absolutely doesn't mean anything to us except you're a big fan and you're happy for a week that your team won. But you're right. So technically they're performing. You can't stand there for 2 extra minutes and please your audience. I mean, I've always had to play to a crowd. When I was in the comedy thing, I couldn't just go into a crowd that I knew I was playing, I don't know, over in a liberal town and start ranting and raving about the flag, whereas they probably wouldn't call me anyway. When I did my appearances and stuff as the guy from Boston, I naturally went to military stuff and pro-American stuff. But again, you're right. I mean, there are codes of conduct. So I agree with you, Frank, and I appreciate your call. And please spread the word and call in any other time you want, Frank. It's always a pleasure. And
Sure.
I would love to break bread with you and Dr. Shiva real soon. Let's set
Yeah,
that
let's
up.
do it. Let's do it up. Show me your favorite place in the North End. I'd love to go.
Well, all right. I can do that. I've got a couple. All right. Thank you, Frank. All right. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks a lot.
Frank
Thanks.
Licata, and let me tell you about Frank. I want to say I've never met him face. I mean, his face looks familiar to me, but I don't know him except through different candidates that Dr. Shiva here, and I remember seeing him an awful lot taking pictures with Donald Trump. And again, whether you like Trump or you don't, Frank's just told you he's only been in politics 3 years, and that's because he didn't like where this country was going, and he got behind some folks that he thought would make the country better. And that's what being an American's all about.